now, big data.
Big data.
The big data.
Big data. The big data.
Today is big data.
Okay, so our next speaker is Elizabeth Xu. She is the Group VP Product Engineering at Axiom, a big data and marketing company. Elizabeth brings more than 15 years experience in building large-scale, mission-critical enterprise platforms, SaaS platforms and applications, mobile platforms and apps. Prior to that, she also served as SVP in
Reardon Commerce.
Okay, thank you. Reardon Commerce, RMS, and Vitria Technology. And before that, she started her career in IBM. In her spare time, she devoted a lot of time elevating leadership skills in the technical community. Her book, Myths of the Promotion, 10 Steps to a Successful Career, is available at Amazon. She holds a PhD in atmospheric science and an MS in computer science from the University of Nevada, Reno. She also earned an MS in atmospheric science and BS in space physics from Peking University. Today, Elizabeth is going to address how to increase digital marketing effectiveness and be compliant with the privacy regulations and how to make the right offer to the right consumer at the right touch point and at exactly the right point in time by utilizing big data. Now, welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Actually, I'm not here to talk about why I'm qualified to speak about the privacy. And when I came here, I talked to Lee and also Dennis. And I said, I work for Axiom. I said, where's Axiom? I said, Little Rock. Why Little Rock? That was the question, why Little Rock? In about 40 years ago, Axiom is a 40 years old company. 40 years ago, 40 years ago, and there was a gentleman who was very handsome, and he wanted to run for senator. And his best friend said, you know what, I can help you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a personalized letter. And you and your volunteer will sign that letter. We're going to get every lady's name from the yellow page of the whole Arkansas. I will send them a personalized letter. Guess what? He won. He won a political campaign. That was the very first personalized political campaign in the history. And here, Axiom started the business. Back in the 911, you know how we got those people? The federal government, all the FBI went to Little Rock. They camped there for 10 hours. They got everyone. And that's why in one of the TV interview, and it started with, there's an unknown company called Axiom in Little Rock. They know more about you than the federal government, than Facebook. Sounds pretty, right? And when I first looked at Axiom, I found out that it is indeed pretty because every one of you will have a record in our database. There are 1,600 attributes about you. It's being updated while we're speaking. Isn't that pretty? And that means we know about where you live, you know, which house you live, how many times you married, how many kids you have, where your kids is attending the school. And then, you know, whatever you do, we know. And I was joking, like, you know what? You don't have to send me your wedding invitation because I know I will show up at your wedding. So now, let's talk about it. You know, we know about you. Big data. Big data is the buzzword now, but actually exists 40 years ago. And then we have more and more data. We generate more and more crap, like what Charles said. You know what, we as a consumer, we all generate crap. What do? Your digital camera is the #1 tool you have to generate your crap, because you take pictures, keep taking, come on, take pictures, and then you dump on your hard drive. You keep dumping. Occasionally, you take a few, put them into an album. You put a few and maybe put on your wall. But you know what? You just keep dumping everything. If you look at the current marketing, it's called a consumer-centric marketing. Every one of us becomes the center of this marketing industry. What does that mean? You see everything around you, and you wanted to see whatever you wanted to see. And then, sounds like a great idea. I want to buy a hat, like I talked to Leon before the talk. Who knows Chris Ming? Chris Ming is the VP of finance at Intel. And we're friends, and at one time she said, Elizabeth, it is indeed creepy. I said, why? Because one time I was searching for a hat, and I found out that for the next few days, the hat ads was following me. Everywhere I went, there was an ad about a hat that was following me everywhere. So it's very creepy. And on the other side, like me, I opt out all those marketing campaigns, so I don't see any ads. I don't get any coupon. And when I want to buy something, I just pay for full price. And at that time, I feel good about paying for the full price because I kept my privacy. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this privacy issue, right? And you asked me for the privacy issue. I said, okay, let's put together a deck, talk about this privacy. And when we look at all the data, my company, Axiom, is a marketing database and application company. And we do some study. And if we look at all the effectiveness of advertisement, I could say that data powers the ad performance. If you look at the very right, it's about how many? 50x of effectiveness. What is that? It's called the best multivariance. It's called a predictive model or propensity model. Basically, they try to use whatever we know about you to predict what you're going to buy, when you're going to buy. So I think this one, we can spend 3 hours talk about this. But I'm saying that our company is doing multivariance marketing. So now let's look at the data. Everyone knows this story. That 3 blind mice, man, they try to, they found this wonderful, mysterious animal. They look at it, one person said, you know what, this is a trunk. Another person said, you know what, this is like a spear. Another person said, this is like a rope. And this is a big elephant. The point is, everyone, as a consumer, if you go back, you look at it, what you know is all about online data. Really? It's all about online data. But really, the online data is just a small piece of this huge elephant. There are things that I want to talk about is not only just the online data, not just only the pieces. It's about the holistic view about you. So there are 3 kinds of data I would like to address. One is called a publisher data. Who are the publishers? Yahoo, CNN, Facebook, you yourself if you write a blog. And those are all publishers. And advertiser, Ford, Chanel, Prada, they are all advertisers or Macy's. And the third-party data. And this is the data that nobody knows or people usually don't know. Axiom is the representation of this third-party data. Where do we get this data? I was asked, where did you get this data? We spend hundreds of million dollars buying data every single year. And we aggregate them, we update them, we append the data, and then we also build models. We have thousands of propensity models based on those data to predict what you're going to do as a human being. And now, because of the digital age, what we do is we bring them together. When we bring them together, the overlap area of the three will give a holistic view about you. It's a big picture about you, about your past, what you did at a different website, and you moved, you dated, you married, you went to different schools. Those are past. It is really creepy. You're tracked. You're tracked. Whether you're online, you're offline, you're just tracked. And because everybody is recording you, your behavior, your data, your output, and now all the marketers realize that if they can do a targeted marketing, they can increase their ad performance by 50 times. So everyone is focusing on that piece of data that we can link advertiser and publisher and also third party. And now let's talk about the privacy. You asked me to talk about the privacy. What are the threats, right? Let's talk about the privacy. What are the threats? Fraud, ID. The number one lesson I taught my kids is do not tell anybody your birthday. Do not put your birthday there. Do not give anyone your social security number. Do not give anyone your home address. All those kind of things. They look at me like, what are you talking about? Who cares about that? But I do advise everyone, just go back home if you have children, tell them, do not put their personal identification number out there. Because once it's out forever. Especially their birthday. Do not give to them. And there are a lot of email that they pretending they're Macy's, they're Citibank, they send you email. Look twice. And sometimes do not click on the links. And you can basically retype this link. If you think this looks fishy, instead of clicking on the link, what you do is you retype everything, letter by letter. Because you never know what's behind that link. And the cookie. And go back to the previous slide. How do we link those three types of data together? How? And what do we use as a tool to link all those three parts of data? It's the cookie. It's the cookie on your browser that we can track. We can get your PII data, your personal identification information, and your click stream, whatever you click, whichever site you visited, and everything else that associated with your computer, with your browser, your setting. It depends on whatever this cookie contains. And then currently what a marketing company like Axiom does is they sync up your cookie with your offline data. The offline data means how much money you have, which income area category you are, which area you're living in, what kind of things you're looking for, all those type of things. You put them together. So when I visit at yahoo.com, when Charles visits yahoo.com, most likely we see different ads. All the display ads are specifically made for you based on your cookie, based on your search history. This is how I would say that how powerful the personalized advertisement becomes. And then, a lot of times people say, you know what, you can be anonymized. Well, but now everyone try to reverse that process. and try to say, you know what, yes, I got you as an anonymous information. But when your sample crowd becomes very small, you pretty much can figure out who that person is. So that's the process called re-identification. Identification. And also, let's talk about the mobile. You know, many people think location-based advertisement is great. And I just came back from IAB, which is the marketing conference. And they said, friend, enemy, and a frenemy. Let's get together. And big data, big ideas, how we're gonna crack the nuts of personalized and locationized advertisement. And now there are so many regulations about this location-based advertisement because people cannot, we need to figure out, how long we can preserve your location information. How much information we should preserve and how much information we can sell. So right now, if you're thinking about to start a company in the mobile location-based advertisement kind of software, and think twice because there will be very strict regulation coming up about the location-based advertisement. And also excessive data collection and use. You'll see that when you go to the mall, there's a car over there and ask you to submit your personal information to do all that. And people ask me, hey, where did you get your personalized third-party information? That is one of the most important vehicles for us to get data. And so do not think this vacation or this car is fabulous. And that's kind of like the bait for you to volunteer your personalized information. So when a company like Axiom, when we look at privacy, it's a very, very convoluted problem. And I spent a long time working with our privacy group. We have a chief product privacy officer who does nothing. And she has a team of 10, does nothing, just look at privacy issue. And also the chief privacy officer reviews my design. Reviews designs of the code, say, hey, can you put this PI information next to the de-identified ID? So those are the things. And she and her teams are working with legal compliance and customers, consumer care, and also advocate groups. And every another few months, you'll find out a big lawsuit about privacy. And this is the group of people who are doing privacy and policy work in the groups that I met most of them earlier last week. And one of the lady, her name is Pam Dixon. She is the mother of a do not track. If you read news last week, you know that Firefox decided they're going to follow Microsoft's camp, jump into this do not track group at the camp that basically they do not support most of the cookie-based tracking. So let's drill down a little bit about this identification and identity. This should be a consumer identity. And when we look into people's identity, we're looking at it like assumed, observed, partially known, and also known in the network. Those are type of your identity. It will change over the time. And this is a much more complex diagram about the people's identity. And on the left-hand side is pretty much 100% PII. PII stands for personal identification information. On the right-hand side is pretty much aggregated information, almost like a digital picture. And if you have like a 11 megapixel of the versus like a 5 by 10 kind of a pixel value of your image. So if the more information we aggregated, the less of a chance you can re-identify this person back. So this is the whole process that you have your PI, you also have your device identification information, and you put them together, you link them using a special key, and also you get aggregated their information. At the end of the day, you find out that you de-identify them, and also you get aggregated their information. You become, we classify the whole world into maybe 100, maybe 200 or 300, something we call the persona cluster. That you belong to this persona cluster instead of, this is just Lee. And we're not marketing to Lee, but we're marketing to someone like Lee. When Macy's, or let's see, when Macy's want to market to Lee, and then they say, Lee himself is not enough. We need to market a meaning of Lee. So what they do is, what we do is we go to that persona cluster. We found that every single person in that cluster looks like Lee, or has as much money as Lee does, and it has the similar behavior, and then market to them. When we try to market a car, we'll say, hey, who's driving a convertible? And who has the habit that change cars every 2 years? Let's market to that group. So those are the way that we try to protect people's identity and privacy, to use information, aggregated information we call the personic cluster, to help consumer. That's why we don't sell all your 1,600 of attributes. We only sell very few. And we use the cluster, we use personics cluster to protect your privacy. As a company, that if we keep selling every attribute of your data, I think we pretty much will be sued left and right. It will be out of business very quickly. But a lot of startups, they don't care. And they don't care, not big enough, so they use your data unwisely, and then they don't protect you. So when you give data to a smaller firm, be careful. It's very, very dangerous. And this is the compliance and the best practices of the industry. Basically, you need to be hyper transparent. And it cannot surprise customers. You have to let customers know ahead of time what are you going to do about their data. And also use a just-in-time notice when something happens or when you start to collect their data. And improve choice. Give them more choice. And the choice cannot be like, I have to write it to a certain person, I have to call 10 different numbers. You have to just do one click and you can opt. So this is the current best practice. And also sensitive data. Sensitive data in our company, we do collect them, but we try not to use them. And data security, as Charles said, there are a lot of data security issues, even in a Hadoop distribution. There are issues that you cannot give a specific privilege to particular user, so everybody pretty much have the same access to data. This is the number one issue that the big data and Hadoop distribution, this whole industry is facing. I don't think everyone has a good answer yet. Okay, so regulation. Let's talk about regulation a little bit. Basically, every country is different. China has much more regulation than US does. Surprising, but you know what? If you sell data in China, you're going to go to jail. Isn't that interesting? If you steal a patent, you're not going to go to jail, but if you sell data, you're going to go to jail. Surprise. This is like a sensitivity about data, location data, on biometric data. Those are the new type of data that get a lot more sensitivity. And the whole industry at this point is evolving. And nobody knows, what level of data you can exchange, what kind of data you can collect, and do we still have the right to forget? It's pretty much in this new digital age, there's no right to forget. Whatever you do, then it's there. Just like in the old Chinese saying, 若想人不知，莫非己不为. So, to summarize it, and as a consumer, what we need to do is to have a choice to what to see, when to see, what not to see, right? Especially to our kids, what not to see is very, very important. And control over opt-in and opt-out. When you do want to have this Starbucks $5 coupon, you have to sacrifice your privacy. And then this is another thing, so privacy is really a 3D challenge for the company like us. Use cases and the data source, not all data created equally. So not all data can be used on every single use case, and also from PI to anonymous. So we are building a software called rights management to manage this whole privacy issue. So I think we're pretty much out of time. Let's talk about a question and answer. Okay, 5 minutes. Question.
So last year, no, actually in 2011,
You should be the one who gave the talk. Wow, privacy law.
I actually did a privacy law survey in 79 countries, talking about data collection, data transfer. So my question is, does your company have different policies and thresholds for different countries? Let's say that in EU, like Europe, it's actually, it has the most strict privacy law in place. It's called EU directive. But in some Asian countries like China or some other countries, they do not even have privacy law in place at all. So do you think that it's better to actually set a very high threshold for all the countries, or you think that it's better to actually set different thresholds in different
I
countries?
think it should, as a company, if you set the too strict of law for a regulation or practice for all your practice globally, you're going to pretty much cannot operate in certain area. So what we do is to basically set different thresholds for different country, different region, based on whatever the country's practice.